Hey lovers, you're welcome to Shim Stitches, and today we are going to be learning how to sew this ANKARA short, and these are the measurements we need. So let's get straight into the video. The first thing you want to do is you want to fold your fabric by the length and the desired width. And for the width, you just want to use your hip measurement divided by 4 plus like 3 extra inches to be on the safer side, and I just did all that. And the length I need is just around 14 inches, and when I remove 1.5 inches band, the length is going to be 12.5 inches. And yes, it has a band 1.5 inches for the big elastic band, the 1 inch elastic band. So I'm marking the desired length first, and that is like 12.5 plus sewing allowance. Yes, obviously it has sewing allowance at the hem. It's a very short short. Okay, why is it called short then? So I've marked that. So that is my starting line, which is also my waistline. So I want to take my hip line, putting in mind the 1.5 inches band that will be attached later. So I'm going to mark my hip line. So the hip line is what you want to mark after the waistline. And I did 9 inches for mine. I'm a little bit tall. I'm a little bit on the tall side. After that, you want to go into the crotch. The crotch is the next after the hip line, and after the crotch you can input your tie line and allowance. I just didn't really input it at that moment because the length is all I need, so the remaining is just the tie. So I'm going to be putting my hip measurement divided by 4 on the hip line, and my hip measurement divided by 4 is 10 inches. I don't add allowance when I'm sewing a short or a trouser or anything. The allowance is always on the back piece. I never add allowances. So that same measurement is what I'm going to put on the waistline, and I'm also going to input it on the crotch line. Let me do that over again. My hip is 40, divided by 4 is 10 inches, and I'm marking that 10 inches on the waistline, the hip line, and the crotch line, and I'm going to make that into a straight line. Then on the hip line, whatever you have there, you're going to divide it by 4, and whatever you arrive at, you add it to the crotch line. What I have on my hip line is 10 inches. You remember, 10 inches divided by 4 is 2.5. That 2.5, I'm going to add it to the crotch line as an extension. So I have 12.5 on the crotch line, and I'm just going to create my curve. So then you measure what you have on the crotch line now. It is 12.5. I'm just going to round it up to 13 inches. And the midpoint of 13 inches, which is the half of 13 inches, is 6.5. So what I'm going to mark now is the 6.5. This is just to serve as a guideline. It's just a guideline for me, just to shape the trouser. So I'm marking the 6.5 inches also on the hip line, and I'm also going to do that on the waist line and also on the length of the fabric. Then I'll make all of that into a straight line. Now I'm marking the 6.5 on the M line, so I'm just going to mark it down to a straight line. So now we can take our tie measurement. My tie measurement is 24 inches. So 24 inches divided by 4 is to divide by 2. Sorry, 24 inches divided by 2 is 12. So the midpoint of 12 is 6. I'm just going to take 6 to the right side and 6 to the left. That is the reason for the guideline we just made. Now I'm going to connect all the lines and dots. So I'm connecting them together now, and that is just that we just drafted the front pattern. So just make a connection to the hip side. We don't have a waist measurement here because it's going to carry an elastic band, so there is no point shaping the waist. That is why I did not shape the waist, in case you're wondering. So now we're just going to cut out our front pattern. And like I said, I don't add allowances to my front piece. I never ever do that, and it works for me, because when I put allowance, it ends up getting too big for me at the end of the day. So all my allowances always go to the back. So now we are done. We have our front two pieces already, and the front two pieces is what we are going to use in cutting the back piece. And for the back piece, you just want it to be 2 inches wider and 1.5 inches longer. I'll tell you why. I told you the 2 inches by the side is just for allowances, obviously, so it will be able to carry the butt area very well. It won't be too tight, it won't flatten the butt area. So that's the reason for the 2 inches allowances at the sides, all around from the hem back to the waistline. And for the 1.5 inch at the top, which I'm still going to mark, the reason for that is because at the waistline at the back, if we don't extend it like that, you're going to notice that your shorts will just be too short at the back. Like it will be drawing down. How do I even explain that? It will not go up. The underwear might even be showing in most cases. So that's the reason why you just have to extend it. And if you have a bigger butt, you might actually do 2 inches, but I always do 1.5 inch. So that is what I'm marking now. So you're just going to take it back to the sides like a slant. So I'm marking the 1.5 inch at the top of the front piece now on the back piece. I hope you understand. Like, this short is a very simple thing to do, like very simple project. So that is where the slants will go in from the crotch line, the line that has the crotch curve. That is where your 1.5 will be. Then you make that into a slant line. And now we can cut. That's just all. That's it. That's the whole thing. Like, very simple. When you know your waist measurements, your hip measurements, your crotch, and your thigh and the hem, that depends on the length of the trouser anyways. So you're good to go. It's a very simple project. And you remember the allowances for both the back, for the sides, and for the upper part, which is the 1.5 for the upper part and the 2 inches by the sides. So this is all we have. We have 2 front pieces and we have 2 back pieces. And this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. And don't forget, we're still going to be adding a band to the shorts. So we are going to cut our band, and for the band you're just going to need the measurement of the waist after you've joined it actually. Whatever you have is what you're going to use in cutting the band. And for the length of the band, or width in this case, it is just 1.5 inches. So unfold, I folded 2 inches, unfold, half inch will go in for joining on both sides. And now to take it to the next thing we want to do is the sewing. You take the two front pieces, right sides facing each other, and you just want to sew on the crotch curve. The same thing for the back pieces, just so from the top down to the crotch curve. So I'm just going to take it to the machine to do that now. Yeah, I've done that, and I hemmed the down part of the short. So this is how it looks like after joining. I joined the crotch area curve and I hemmed the down part. So here is what it looks like. We're actually almost done at this point. So next thing you want to do is you want to join both sides together. So I've joined the two sides together, and now you just want to match it at the crotch area, at the down part, and sew from one hem to another hem. Don't forget your measurements. Now we are done. You can see how beautiful it is already, like so nice. So what we want to do next now is to measure around the waist of this project. Just measure it around whatever you have. It is what you will use in prepping the band. The exact thing you have there plus the sewing allowance is what you're going to have as your band, and you're just going to sew it. And in my case, I sewed it from inside, then turned it out to the outside. I'm going to show you how that looks like as well. So I've added the band to it, and I left open like a 1.5 inch just for me to be able to pass my elastic band through. And at this point, there is no trick about elastic band. You just want to measure it around your waist, how firm, how tight you want it to be, however you want it. Just take it around your waist and cut, putting in mind the sewing allowance, because you have to place it on top of each other and sew it at the end of the whole process of inserting into the band. So that is what I'm just going to do. You're just going to pass it with a safety pin. You had the safety pin, then you pass it across. When you bring it out from the other hand, place it on the other one and sew back and forth, reverse stitch and that. Then you close up the opening. So this is how it looks like on me. Like you can see how firm it is, not too tight. Thank you for watching.